Mr. President, I rise this morning again to speak to the importance of extending the production tax credit, otherwise known as the PTC, for wind energy. And I wanted to mention that the production tax credit has been used on many occasions to promote other kinds of energy development, including natural gas. The production tax credit for wind particularly is set to expire at the end of December. And as a result, thousands of hardworking middle-class families in Colorado and across our country who currently work in this important energy industry are at extreme risk of losing their jobs. And in fact, many of these workers have already been laid off as companies brace themselves for the expiration of the PTC. And to put it in stark terms, Mr. President, the potentially bright future of a quintessentially American industry is uncertain unless we act as soon as possible. Mr. President, I've come to the floor now some 22 times to discuss the wind energy industry. And when I do so, I highlight the positive effects that the PTC has had on one individual state. I've had the great opportunity and privilege of speaking to the presiding officer's state's wind energy industry in Montana. And today, I want to take the opportunity to talk about the Wolverine State. Michigan is another remarkable illustration of how the PTC has revitalized manufacturing and created good-paying jobs while providing the state with clean energy. And I would like to, Mr. President, ask unanimous consent at this point that a statement from Senator Carl Levin, the senior senator from Michigan, be included in the record, and it speaks to the wind energy industry in Michigan.
Without objection, so ordered.
We've seen improvement in the nation's economy, but many families and businesses across our country are still struggling to make ends meet. And this has been especially true in Michigan, a state that has one of the nation's highest unemployment rates and a sluggish manufacturing base. And this is all a result of the tough economic times that we've experienced over the last 4 years. But if you look at Michigan, Mr. President, the wind industry saw an opportunity in Michigan. Michigan's known for its highly skilled workforce, and so the wind industry took root in Michigan, took advantage of this workforce, and now we see that in Michigan there's significant manufacturing of wind turbines occurring there. And that's reinvigorated Michigan's industrial base, and it's aided in the recovery of the state's economy. If you think about it, thousands of parts go into each car manufactured in Michigan. And wind turbines, from the towers to the nacelles to the blades, are no different. Someone told me recently that something on the order of 8,000 parts go into a wind turbine. So if you think about that, the skills of these hardworking Michigan workers translate into the development, the engineering, the construction, the manufacturing required for wind turbines, which has then in turn provided the state of Michigan and thousands, and I should say the local communities, with thousands of new jobs and billions of dollars in investment. You can see all the green circles on the map of Michigan here that identify the places in which this manufacturing is occurring. And this is in large part a result of the targeted federal incentives like the production tax credit. Mr. President, I'd like to highlight further some of the many benefits of the wind energy industry in Michigan. There are at least 40 facilities that develop and produce various components for the wind energy industry, and that supports about 5,000 jobs. Furthermore, wind projects have contributed over $7 million in property tax payments to local governments, and that's money that helps fund schools, infrastructure, and other vital community services. So the state is building the towers and the blades and the cells so that you can harvest the wind. And Michigan is taking advantage of that opportunity as well. They're ramping up their deployment of this technology to harvest the wind because the wind energy manufacturing sector is located there. So it's a virtuous cycle, if you will. And in 2011, Michigan more than doubled its power production from wind, and it's on pace to increase its capacity by another 50% this year. And that would include the completion of the state's largest wind farm, the Gratiot County Wind Project, which is located in the middle of the Lower Peninsula. And this project itself not only created over 250 construction jobs and 15 permanent maintenance and operation jobs, it also doubled the tax base of the local schools. And this has created a positive ripple effect on all these communities that's been noticeable and powerful. And moreover, there are currently enough wind projects under construction in Michigan to nearly double the current wind power production in the state, with even more potential development in the works. The point I'm making is that the key is the production tax credit when it comes to these projects, and most importantly, the jobs that they create. And Mr. President, there remains a vast untapped potential when it comes to wind energy in the state. And in fact, the National Renewable Energy Lab estimates that Michigan has enough wind power potential to meet 160% of the state's current electricity needs. The extension, therefore, of the PTC is essential to the continued development of Michigan's wind resources, which will create good-paying American jobs, aid local communities, and build a clean energy economy. So it's pretty simple, Mr. President. The production tax credit, the PTC, equals jobs, and we need to pass it and extend it as soon as possible. Well, how do we do that? Well, if we want that bright future to be realized, we need to work together and extend the wind PTC now. It's common sense. It has bipartisan support. It has bicameral support. We need to extend it now, as soon as possible. The PTC has not only aided in the growth and expansion of our manufacturing economies in states like Michigan, but it's also shown us that America can and frankly must outcompete China and the other countries that are trying to develop their own wind energy industries. So let's come together. Let's find a path forward. Let's pass an extension of the wind PTC as soon as possible. The longer we wait, the longer we don't act, it puts the significant economic strides that we've seen in states like Michigan and all around the country at risk. And it substantially inhibits future job growth. We simply, Mr. President, cannot afford to cede this promising new energy technology and energy future to countries like China.